Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. 16,000 scattered. Ceiling 25,000 broken. Temperature 23. 2.23. Altimeter 2992. Simultaneous approach is in use. ILS runways 8 and 14 approach is in use. Visual approaches may be used in visual meteorological conditions. Area navigation approach available on request. Landing runways 8 and 14. Departing runway 8. Departing runway 14 available on request. Use caution. Waterfowl and bird activity in vicinity of airport. Radio-controlled aircraft activity 4 nautical miles northwest of airport. Terminal ramp is uncontrolled. Push and start at your discretion. Call when ready for taxi. Nurses to airmen. Runways are suggested. Advise on initial contact. You have information Bravo. Jacksonville International.
November 194 Delta Bravo, no further ATC is available. Monitor advisory 122.8.
Advisory 122.8, describe what our photo's about. And you might want to check your Discord.
Which TV is this? Oh, okay, STV. Okay, so it is recording audio off STV. Okay. There we go. Oh my fucking desk and engine turned as hot as I want. I haven't done anything around here in almost a month. go on the radar on observation and just check and see if my flight plan's submitted. Southwest. Party brake set. Ground power on. Battery master on. DC altimeter. Set. Battery. Yeah. So I have a flight plan. I have no battery. Denver. Hard. Just trying to get the battery. Okay, there we go. Electric hydraulic pumps off. Standby power 1 and 2 guarded. Standby power auto. Bus transfer auto. 115, we have connection. We're going to Denver. Where the hell did Swift just go? I know Swift did not just close down on me. Okay. Yeah, from Jax. Landing gear levers verified down. We know we're having down, so we're good. Master caution recall. Master caution recall set. Position points. Views, instrument panel. Position points. Stroke and steady. Engine lead switches 1 and 2 are off. How many feet was a mile? There's not 12 feet a mile. You're looking for a mile. You're looking for a mile. I'm using mine as a checklist. Hold on. Hey Google, how many feet is in a mile? Hey Google, how many feet is in a mile? So let's say 5,300 is our minimums. Well, I asked like 6 times, Mark, and no one even bothered to answer me. Shut up. No, he even said to ask again. Yeah. Well, I needed you to do that for me. I needed the altitude and auto checklist so I could start setting targets. You know what I'm saying? Quick switches. Normal. Circulation fans auto. Air conditioning panels set. Cruise auto. Ignition switch on. Ignition switch off. Isolation valve auto. Isolation valve goes to open. Pack switches remain auto. That's fine, Mark. Flight controls A and B guarded. Alternate flap switch is guarded. Alternate flaps control is off. Spoiler A and B guarded. Yaw damper on. Fuel pumps check. My mic is next to my mouth. Fuel pumps check. DC voltmeter selector TR2. DC voltmeter selector battery. Cabin utility IF. Cabin utilities on.
off.
Wing anti-ice. Wing anti-ice off. Engine anti-ice. Firm off. Off. Electric hydraulic pumps 1 and 2. Off. Engine hydraulic pumps 1 and 2. Firm on. CDR test. Testing operable on this aircraft. Engine auto start. Auto. The right ignition. Pushback. Trim air on. Isolation valve open. Engine bleeds 1 and 2 on. APU bleed on. Dual bleed light on. Pressurization
Panel is set.
Mode selector altitude, flight indicator, and flight altitude. We've done that already with 40,000 feet. Land altitude indicator indicate enter destination airport altitude. We've done that 5,300.
We have ATIS Bravo on board.
Exterior lights as required. So, go ahead and turn off the nav noise on here. Alright. Forward pedestal. Forward pedestal.
Forward pedestal.
Time to program the FMS.
There we go. Now we got it.
So we got that set. Trigger set. Heading selector set, no sign. What am I heading? 31. The Boeing 737-800 NG.
Glide slow. Pull up. Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Sink rate. Pull up. Don't sink. Too low, terrain. Too low, gear. Too low, flaps. Glide slow. Bank angle, bank angle.
Approaching minimums.
Minimums, minimums.
1,000. 500. 400. 300. 200. 100. 60. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Yeah, that's what this is.
TCAS system test OK.
Call ground and obtain the. Jacksonville ground, good evening, southwest.
3081 C4 ready to copy the IFR over to Denver as well. We have Davis Bravo.
E1 is cleared to the Denver airport via the RNE2 departure, Alma transition as filed. Maintain 3000, expect flight level 400, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is offline, squawk 7420.
Can you verify the squawks? I know we're in 2.6s now.
Southwest 3081, squawk 7420.
Standby 1. Are you an active ZJX controller or a guest ZJX controller?
Active.
Okay, are you in Discord right now?
Negative. Should I join?
Yes, I'm update you on some things real quick. I'm one of the ground controllers here too.
Okay.
Your Eric cycle's out of date. I don't know if they told you or not.
Oh, I'm gonna have to update that then.
Yeah, that's why I said the squawks are like 2601, 2602.
Yeah, they got me with that too.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, no problem, Joey. Just give me a second. I'm trying to switch my thing over because one of my monitors is acting funny. Yeah, that's no issue. It's the look on the ZJX website. It's under 2007.
Roger.
Yeah, I was doing it too until they got me about it the other day.
But
Go ahead and give me that one. I think you said it was 7420. We'll go with that one this time. Just after this, update it.
Yeah, it was 7420.
All right. And Jacksonville ground, Southwest 3081. Excuse me. I always change my call signs to the realistic ones. We're clear to the Denver International Airport. RNE2 departure. All the transitions filed. 3000 initial. 400. 10 after departure. Departure 122.8. We'll squawk 7420 and have Atis Bravo.
Southwest 3081, read back correct. Call for taxi, expect runway 8.
We'll call for taxi and we'll expect 8. Hey, Mark, I'm going to do my actual briefing and everything to the crew too today and the cabin, so make it a little more realistic for everybody today.
fuel pump switches on. Fuel pump switches verified on. APU generator switches on. APU generator switches on. Seatbelt sign on. Lift off base off. Base on. Flight deck doors.
Locked and disconnected.
Ground. Disconnected. Ground
Do I need the 2007 alias as well?
Yeah, I think that's the one you need.
Stabilizer trim is set. Anti-collisions are set. Ready for push.
Well, that means you're a passenger tonight then, Mark. I won't kill you. I've been doing this for over a decade. Lights off for nighttime departure. This is what I just did is actually go live standard for nighttime departure. Because you'll hear the cabin crew too. Ladies and if you notice, the cabin lights have been turned off. Is this a standard for a nighttime procedure? It's not laggy. We're just pushing back. No, it's just how it is. It's the graphics right now. It's because I'm not inside the cockpit. I'm actually looking back so I can see where I'm setting myself. Start. Next, switches off. Isolation valve auto. Pressure 30 plus. 30 plus. Right into the start. Switch to
Ground, November 1 from Bravo has exited the runway at Juliet, requesting taxi GA.
Or 194 Delta Bravo, taxi Ground, welcome back. Taxi of the ramp via Juliet Alpha Golf.
Taxi to GA via Juliet Golf to Bravo.
4 Delta Bravo, that's Juliet Alpha Golf.
We're gonna go pause really quick.
Southwest 3081, runway 8, taxi via Juliet Alpha Lima.
Skyhawk Command. Yeah, Skyhawk 1, that was that.
Good, 4 Delta Bravo. Taxi the ramp via Juliet Alpha Golf Quebec.
Taxi to GA via Juliet Golf. Skyhawk 1 something. Is there a aircraft in us, or is that just an AI for me?
That's a real plane.
Oh god, I want to do the incredible around it.
Jackson Brown, Southwest 3081. Make a wrong turn on the reroute back.
Southwest 3081, runway 8, taxi via Papa November Lima.
You want me to do 180 and try and look for an airplane?
For 194 Delta Bravo, make a 180 right on Alpha, then right on Golf, good day.
Roger, do 180 right on Alpha, right on Golf, Skyhawk 4 Bravo.
Southwest 3081, squawk 2603.
Jacksonville ground, over 68 Delta Foxtrot, wait your check.
Or 68 Delta Foxtrot, Jacksonville ground 555. ATIS information Delta is now current.
Alright,
no further ATC is available. Or sorry, monitor advisory 122.8, see ya. ground is back.
Actual ground number 68 Delta Foxtrot.
Number 68 Delta Foxtrot, Jacksonville ground. Sorry, I had to move my mouse. Go ahead.
Actual ground number 68 Delta Foxtrot, signature appeal with information Delta. Ready for taxi to VFR traffic.
Number 68 Delta Foxtrot, maintain VFR at or below 1,500. Squawk 1201, runway 8, taxi via Golf Alpha Lima.
VFR 1,500, 1201 in the squawk, and Golf Alpha Lima, runway 8, Delta Foxtrot.
8 Delta Foxtrot, read that correct. Yeah. Aircraft AS Echo is current. Number 68 Delta Foxtrot, squawk 2662.
2622, 8 Delta Foxtrot, thank you.
68 Delta Foxtrot, negative, squawk 2662.
2662, 8 Delta Foxtrot.
Number 68 Delta Foxtrot, what happened to 68 Delta Papa?
He's dying.
I thought that was your call sign.
I'm exiting the Foxtrot, he's fine, 6, Echo Papa.
Roger, then I had it all wrong.
Hey, I'll switch my link. You can copy and paste, or I can send you the
Potomac.
My shitty editing skills came up with an idea of a really shitty profile picture. Goddamn white lines are all screwed up.
Go ahead.
It's okay if we off of Limo make it, we make a left onto the ground area for the 5 minute fish.
8 Delta Foxtrot approved. Hey, Frog's here.
He likes good communication. Prefers professionalism.
Roger. Papa VFR departure to the south with information Sierra at the signature FBO. That was information Echo for 6 Echo Papa. Number 56 Echo Papa, Jacksonville Grand, hello. Maintain VFR, matter below 9,500, departure frequency offline, squawk 2670. 2670 on the box and maintain VFR below 9,500. 6 Echo Papa will go for taxi. 6 Echo Papa, read that correct. Thanks for Echo.
Just trying to make sure I'm not. What? No, I'm. What? Everything works out though. Look now.
Technical ground. Over 560 operated to taxi.
Square 56 Echo Papa, runway 8 taxi via Golf Alpha Lima.
Runway 8 via Golf Alpha Lima, Eclipse 6 Echo Papa.
Yeah.
Delta Foxtrot. We are at the runway taxi runway 8.
Square 68 Delta Foxtrot, runway 8 taxi via Kilo Alpha Lima.
Kilo Alpha Lima, runway 8, 6 Delta Foxtrot.
Square 68 Delta Foxtrot, no further ATC is available. Monitor advisory 122.8, see ya.
122 decimal 8, November 68 Delta Foxtrot.
Hold on. Jack's AT's.
Hey, Jack's ground, signal of the function up. What's the altimeter?
Hey, Joey.
Altimeter 29902.
Huh?
I might be
Lovely,
running back
thank
to
you,
the
goodbye.
gun. I'm having LNAV issues out the ass. Like, the VNAV will stay connected, but the LNAV will not stay connected to save my life.
Rachel, are you asking for delivery?
That way y'all can see what I'm doing, what's going on with my plane.
What plane is that? Is that in FSX?
No, it's the ifly 737 NG on FS9.
Roger.
Number 56 Echo Papa, no further ATC is available.
I don't know why that LNAV will not
Monitor
stay
advisory
connected.
122.8, see ya.
That's weird. Is your FMC direct to a waypoint?
That's not good. Yeah. That is all my flight direction and altitude. I still got
That is so weird.
Hold on. I'm communicating with one of the. Yeah, do you see my issue I'm having now?
Yeah, I have no clue what could cause that.
I'm just gonna have to use. Hold on, Brad. I'm just gonna have to use the VNAV and just keep hitting LNAV every little bit to keep it on course.
You're gonna have to do that all the way to Denver.
I mean, I'm already almost 200 miles away from Jacksonville. I mean, I could turn back to Jax, but what do you think? Turn back to Jax or just fly it out?
I mean, if you're, I don't know.
I mean, I can
I mean,
make it.
I mean, if you're willing to click it for like 3 hours, yeah, you should go to Denver. But if you're not, go back to Jack's.
I ain't got nothing else better to do.
Yeah, then continue to Denver.
All right, continuing to Denver. Like, I am really stumped by this.
Attention 0 aircraft. Datus Foxtrot is current.
Atis Foxtrot current. 0 aircraft flying. I just had to do that for you.
So you're on Jack's ground even though you're like 200 miles away?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm using Swift. Daniel,
Hello?
what the hell is wrong with my LNAV?
He just keeps hitting it. It keeps just disengaging itself.
Your autopilot is... Why is your autopilot yelling at you on the center console, yet it's on?
Right! Watch, it goes off when I hit the LNAV.
Do you have a flight plan? You put a flight plan on the FMC, right?
Yeah, no, Daniel. It's just my display is showing that there's a flight route there.
I'm just making sure. What plane are you flying? The ifly?
A firm.
Go to the FMC. I'm not exactly too smart about these things, but I know how it works.
I know my way around a 7.3, but I've never had this issue.
Victor Uniform Zulu. That's an active route. Can you try and going direct to Victor Uniform Zulu fix? Because Maybe it doesn't know that you're trying to go direct that fix. I don't know, honestly.
I have the
double
updated
click
AirAg. I
the
have the
button
updated
that's right
AirAg.
next to it.
I have a Navigraph subscription now, finally, after y'all coerced me into it. After how long have y'all tried to get me into getting a Navigraph subscription?
He's just using the 2D screen, not the 3D screen.
Why are you using the 2D panels?
Look, it just turned on. Oh, then it turns off.
Yeah.
That's been the problem for the past 200 miles!
How does that happen? Like, what?
I'm glad
Thank
it's Vivo,
you!
but like, I've never seen this.
Yeah, with the 737, I think that has to be a glitch at least. I can't really help you.
Maybe try and hit the yellow flashing. Oh, it turns off when you turn it back on.
Autopilot, there's an error. Click it again. I think that's autopilot. Autopilot reset.
Maybe try and toggle your try and disconnect your autopilot completely.
I can try that. Let's see what happens.
Because that could be another thing. Then there's a problem with the navigation system. Then I'm not saying that your AirAg is invalid. It could be just the navigation.
Is the best troubleshoot.
Oh yeah, now this is even better. Now the motherfucker ain't cutting back on.
Okay, try and disable your LNAV and hit CMDA.
Do you have a... What? Oh, maybe they're two different systems? What?
Well, that fixed it.
I have no idea what the fuck.
You should not have CWS on.
Should have Command A.
Oh, rip.
So it's just flying by its own heading. That's not on actually the plan. What is the PFD saying? There's a message on the PFD. What's the PFD saying? Not that thing. Your main display that you look at, like your...
yeah, Artificial Horizon.
Oh, sorry. CVAS-R.
CWS-R? Is your CWS right side on? I don't know if that's a thing. But
where's that at?
On your autopilot panel, like one of the CWS is below the command.
Did you see the CWS-R on?
Check your failures.
I have no idea what the fuck is going on with this plane right now.
Try and just completely turn off your flight directors as well.
I don't see any warnings. Maybe it was... I honestly think it was a bug. It's not something with the aircraft. It has to be a bug.
Yeah, it's holding now.
Yeah, it's...
Don't jinx it.
Honestly,
yeah, knock on my desk.
I wouldn't jinx it and say, oh, it works now. I would say just maybe watch closely, because you never know if it's going to disconnect again. Because
you think it was the flight directors?
Probably.
Could be. It could be just a glitch with the flight directors and you just have to reset them.
Although apparently from what I watched on Air Disasters, 737 has the most problems out of every plane in the world.
Just surprising.
Max mode.
And the worst part is, on the 737-800s themselves, guess what the problems was?
Autopilot.
The autopilot.
God damn. Should do level change to 0,000, go max mode. Yeah, like like I know how to fly the. I don't really know much about the 737. All I know, it has kind of the same functionalities as the 717.
I used to only fly the 7.3 until I bought an Airbus.
Rachel, why? I'm sitting in my room in a dark room, looking at a computer screen. Trying to fix someone's plane because
She knows she can.
it's
She
about
knows
to
she can
go
hear
max
us.
mode. Yep, but I think it's working now. Maybe just a glitch.
Lion Air 610.
Is this FS2004?
I think it's
Yes, it
FS9.
is.
Oh, never mind. I think that's the same thing.
It's the
2004
same.
9 are the
Yeah.
same thing, yeah. Yeah, I like it because it's a lot better on frames.
Try
Especially if you're
FX.
streaming.
Oh, I just blinded myself. Jesus Christ.
Like, I'm actually streaming to Facebook and YouTube.
How do you get so many more frames in an FS2004?
Because I have an Alienware X31 or an X51.
I have a potato ware piece of shit. Fuck.
Okay, what GPU do
Hey,
you
I
have
like
if
my
you have a
Alienware,
GPU?
okay?
Are you asking me?
No.
I
Ra-
think it's the best computer I've had so far.
Rachel, you're asking why I'm not talking because there's no aircraft on the ground.
Yeah. Why would you be talking to? I don't know. Casper's on the ground. Nova, you gotta control
Hi, Casper. How are you?
Casper needs his taxi clearance.
Casper runway 8, taxi via Juliet Alpha Lima.
Juliet Alpha Lima, Casper or Casper 1. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
John's on this frequency like 200 miles away.
Did he just like transmit and all came out was just
It's actually pretty clear.
from 200 miles away?
Because
It's not
I'm
realistic,
using
but-
Swift.
How the hell did you manage to unrealistically transmit something that clear from 200 miles away?
Because if you know how to work with settings, you can do a lot of power.
Oh, he turned off the radio thing.
I have it off so like when there's no controllers on in the airport I'm at and I need a radio check to make sure all my systems are working, then I can go to the next one that's online.
Radio check. Radio check.
Alright, Daniel, we ain't Delta.
Yeah, but I work for a Delta virtual airline.
I do too, but I haven't flown for them in a year.
I need
The
more
last
people
flight
over
I
in
did,
mine.
the last flight I did for them was about 3 hours or 3 or 4 hours ago.
Oh, Daniel, by the way, when you're bringing somebody over to Allegiant, go into the PHP VMS settings, go to General, switch the skin over to the default, allow them to do their applications, and then switch it back.
What now? Sorry.
Because the join modules don't exist in the new page skin,
Oh,
so you got to switch it back to the default to get them to do their apps and then switch it back.
okay.
So we might do just what we call hiring days. You know, maybe Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays do hiring days.
Did you guys mark me with the hub manager stuff yet?
I believe we did. I know Liz gave you your staff hours.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me log into and see if I have any things that I can do.
If not, I'll have Liz log into Allegiant Virtual and go to her admin and do it. And Rachel, when you're talking on Discord, you're hard to hear. Like, I can hardly hear you.
She keeps telling me to unmute my mic when it's not muted.
Yeah, Rachel, we're all talking, and it could just be an issue on your end. Oh man, I can't wait when I get my solo cert for approach at Jacksonville. I'm gonna have so much fun controlling.
Can't wait. What?
Can't wait when I get my solo cert for approach. That's gonna be so much fun to control.
Can't wait until I get my Jax or my Orlando ground cert.
Dude, Orlando's
Traffic.
fun. It's actually not that hard.
The DTAs were the hardest part in my delivery training.
The hardest part about learning how to control was Orlando was taking it way too hard than it had to be. So, you know, I always thought you had to really say like, for departure, radar vectors, Craig. Usually, all you have to say is the departure, and that's it. They don't care about anything else. They just want you to tell them the departure, then that's filed.
Yeah, because if you're like, I think all of them are radar vectored, so you just say that a departure has filed. Because you don't need to say radar vectors
Hey,
too.
watch this. Watch what I'm gonna do.
What are you about to do?
Wow, he just hopped on Jacksonville 1 ground.
Did he put it as Jacksonville 1 ground?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
test out the unrealistic audio.
I'll call up if you want me to.
Oh goodness me.
Are you going on a 1219er? Jacksonville ground.
Yeah.
Casper 1.
We're on the same frequency.
Although the audio didn't change.
You probably have to disconnect and rejoin. Why did Microsoft wait 2 years in between?
Say something on frequency. Okay, wow.
Casper 1.
They did a good job. I somehow still can hear you with the VHF.
So, why did Microsoft wait 2 years in between fs2004 and FSX, but wait 14 in between FSX and FS2020?
Because they wanted to wow ya.
Oh wait, I forgot that Lockheed Martin bought the rights to FSX, so I think they just gave up.
The dog. What the hell is she going through?
Yeah, Lockheed Martin.
Prepared honestly sucks.
Look, I'm gonna be real. Y'all so high prepared. Do you know what prepared is, right?
It's a professional flight sim that
It's a
costs way too
professional.
much.
They use the simulator.
It's
for,
FSX.
Yeah,
It's FSX, but with a little bit better graphics.
It's FSX on crack cocaine.
No, it's not. It's no better graphics to it. I had it. I deleted it because I said, "Oh, this is just the same as FSX."
Yeah, same. Someone gave me. I'll be honest. Someone gave me a cracked P3D. I was like, okay, whatever. I'll take it. I tried it out. It's like, holy shit, this thing takes away too many frames, and I can't even use it. And that was
X-Plane
V4.
is so good.
Now I could put X-Plane on here to trial on it, and X-Plane runs beautifully. Now I'll give X-Plane credit where credit's due. They did good. Laminar did good.
Isn't Laminar ran by like one guy? Or
If it's
the
made by
X-Plane
one
part?
guy, then he's a hell of a developer.
He's also. I think he had like a real world experience that like caused him to make X-Plane.
I've actually considered getting 11.
11's really good.
Yeah, 11's a really good sim. They have some pretty good freewares. Really nice freewares as well.
Yeah.
A really
It's
nice
just learning the
freeware scenery.
controls. It's just learning the controls is my issue.
The physics is so much different than the Microsoft flight sims.
Yeah, I'll tell you, flying in X-Plane is a lot different. It's very, like, it wants...
Unforgiving.
Yeah, I can't really explain it, but it's, like, really, it's different.
It's exaggerated.
Yeah.
So you know how in FSX you press the rudder all the way to the right in the default 7.3? You go basically nowhere. In X-Plane, if you do that, he will literally turn 90 degrees.
Yeah, if you turn your yoke all the way left,
You see, I
Explain
use
will
my
think,
FS.
oh, I'm gonna turn 90 degrees bank left.
I have my PS4 controller hooked up through a mapper, so that way I can actually use my 6-axis as a turnable control.
I'm just sitting on ground just to get hours.
So, like, if I want to turn left on departure or whatever, and I use the heading bug, I can literally just tilt my controller over to the left a little bit, and the plane will turn to the left.
Oh wait, you can tilt your controller?
I'm using my PS4 controller, so what I do is I do PS4 mapped over to Xbox. But it gives me the ability to set the 6-axis to, like, the joystick commands. So you know how, like, you're playing Gran Turismo on the PS4, you can use your controller to steer, like the motion in the controller to steer.
I know that on a Wii. I've never played Gran Turismo.
Okay, well, any of the games like that where you can use your motion and your controller.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
Basically, in that same sense, yes. But with this, I could set literally where I could pull back to go up, push down, tilt down to go down, or tilt up, push, tilt forward, go down, tilt back, go up, tilt left, tilt right, go right.
So your PS4 controller is a yoke with a bunch of buttons on it.
Practically, yeah, it's a wireless yoke, in a sense. I can make it that way.
It's a floating yoke.
Yeah, hey, John, all I says is my rank is a first officer.
Okay, I'll have Liz log in and adjust it.
Okay, cool.
Liz, can you go to your admin panel, go to pilots and groups, look up Daniel?
Nova, you should make a shitty, you should make a shitty July 4th profile picture.
Okay.
I made one with paint.net. The only thing that's good about it is the Kappa face and the actual colors in it. Everything else looks like it came straight out of fucking, I don't know, prison.
Oh shit.
Oh no, my bad, not prison. A 3-year-old's preschool.
A preschooler's art class.
Yes. Oh hey, I was looking at some charts for Fort Lauderdale, which I'm gonna fly out of tomorrow, and there's a fix named Nova on Bahama departure that I was gonna fly.
I'm sorry, I have to say this. I'm looking at my Facebook stream, and the captioning is like so wrong for the words that we're all saying. Something I'm talking about looks like she came out of a prison, and I don't know. I'm not in a preschool class.
It's 1:30 a.m.
It's 11:30 p.m.
Stupid Pacific time.
It is 2:30 where I am at right now.
Eastern.
Welcome to Jacksonville.
Eastern.
I live in Jacksonville.
I'm from Kansas City, but that RTAC is dead, so I
No,
didn't join
Kansas
it.
City is a joke.
I literally live in Jacksonville.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty nice. I love Florida.
I live on the west side.
I like Florida as well. Florida's a really nice place, honestly. And the beaches, Disneyland.
That's
I
not
like
true.
Universal.
It's COVID central.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was in the wrong area, but still, Disneyland, or Disney, shit, not Disneyland, Disney World, Universal Studios, beaches.
I went to Universal in like 2019. That was my favorite trip ever.
I went to the Universal Studios in California. I haven't been into Florida.
I've never been on the West
I will
Coast.
not be landing until 4:36 in the morning. Wow.
Honestly, I would recommend just going on the East Coast. The West Coast is meh.
Trash.
Yeah, it's cool to see the ocean from there, but it's not as cool as the experience you get at Florida.
Daniel, aren't you from Phoenix?
Yeah, but do you not know how many times I've gone to LA for vacation?
No. Why didn't you join Albuquerque RTAC?
Honestly, It's because I don't know why. I wanted to control something different. I thought when I was like first started doing all this shit, I was like, you know what? Because I've always had an interest in what happens in Chicago, because that's kind of the second
Oh
airport
Lord,
that
you just opened up that can of worms, Josh.
Huh?
That story. That
Why
horrific,
do you keep calling
nightmarish
people
story.
Josh? Earlier you called me Josh, and now you're calling him Josh.
No, I was talking to you.
That's
Joey, I'm
Joey.
sorry.
Oh, okay. Good.
Joe.
I don't know why. It says it right there in front of me. I was looking at the other screen.
Yeah, I talked to
can call me
John
whatever
about
you
this.
Yeah,
But
listen to this story. This story is going to give you nightmares.
yeah, this is probably one of the worst starts you can ever get on as a controller on Vatson. So again, I didn't really want to go to control Phoenix initially. I mean, I plan on doing it at a later time, honestly, because yes, it is my home airport. Yes, I do like Phoenix. Phoenix is pretty cool. They actually have a nice airport. I won't lie, but I wanted to control something else. So I went over to Chicago. I was just fucking lonely OBS, and then I did my first training session, and I was like, you know what? I did pretty good, and everything I was pretty going smooth training wise for S1, and I was learning all the things I needed to know, and they were helping me all the way on Chicago Midway. And then their training times got less and less, and I decided, hey, I'm thinking about moving to another RTech, but I also still don't really want to go back to Phoenix because I'm not sure, or Albuquerque, because I'm not sure how that works over there. So instead of going to Phoenix, I decided to move over to Houston. Houston, holy shit, things got done over there. I'll tell you, it was really I finished up where I left off from on my S1 training, and then I got my S1, and it almost felt really nice because I finally didn't have to wait like 2 more months to get a training session with Chicago. Oh, well, the sound just got. Oh, rip your L now, John. Oh no.
I'm planning on getting like my S3 and then just transferring a bunch of RTECs. I feel like that's a bad idea, but
it's not, because you have to kind of restart training. You have to learn kind of how to control the airports.
If I want to get my S3 or my C1, then transfer to Kansas City and control there, then maybe a couple other RTECs.
You should visit Kansas City.
They aren't accepting visiting requests because there's not a lot of training staff, so I might transfer there, then just become an instructor.
You should become the ATM and say, hey everyone, if you're not gonna do shit in this RTEC, you're gonna get the fuck out of here.
I will get my C1, then just completely revamp that RTEC.
Okay, so continuing off of my story, gets my S1 in Houston, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to go for my next rating, my S2. Now, I will soon realize something bad happens because, well, it took me about 5 months to get my S2, which is unreasonably long for a S1 who's trying to get an S2 rating. So I start my training, I get everything I need to know done, I learn the traffic pattern, I learn the basics, and I get my solo cert at Austin. Now, here's what's sad about it, is when it was way before we had all this nice ass VHF radios. It was really nice. We just had the old damn Kodak that sounded like horseshit, honestly. Some of my friends who were training me back at Chicago decided to spawn up in about 3 military planes and just decided to just come up and fly in the pattern, which I thought to myself, that's fine. They want to give me some traffic, and I was excited. But at the time, I didn't really have much experience on the tower side. All I really knew was kind of the basics. I didn't really have mastered anything up until about now, I guess. You can't really say I've mastered everything, but kind of having it to mind. So I was still a student back then, and they were just testing me. They just went crazy on me. They wouldn't even find the traffic pattern. It was almost like a fucking OTS, honestly. They requested the overhead maneuver. They requested things that like seemed very fucking unnecessary. And I was like, dude, I don't know any of the stuff you're asking from me. If you could like not. And then after I closed up, about an hour later, I get a message from my training administrator saying, "What the hell is this?" And I see that I got bad feedback for being uneasy or just not knowing my stuff. I was like, dude, are you fucking serious? They sent me bad feedback because I didn't know what a goddamn overhead maneuver was at the time. So I was like, bruh. And it almost felt like they left me because they were friends of mine, and so it was like, what a fucking joke, honestly. I should have stayed in Houston the time I had it. So it was, at least I made
Guys.
the... Yeah, what's up?
We're all idiots.
What?
That CWSR was the course selector right.
Course selector right?
Wait.
The course selectors were off balance. One was 340, one was 315.
You fucking... Wow.
So I switched it to
We're all
340 to
so
CWS.
stupid.
Went away,
What
and
out?
the LNAV
I thought it was
reconnected.
CWS. Wow, that's interesting. So you just have Command B on, or Autopod Command B?
Yeah, I have the B on now. It don't let me put both in.
Oh, but your LNAV just disengaged.
Oh my god!
So that wasn't the issue.
No, there's gonna be an issue with the stamp plane the whole time.
Well, Rippy's staying up for 4 hours, and, well, until 4 a.m. flying a dysfunctional 7-3.
Look, I got an hour and 58 minutes left in this flight. If it could just make it to the runway, I am happy.
Dude, John, you need to get Delta added to the airline, honestly, because I will fly the Delta 717 for you.
Will you bring people over?
I will join.
Oh yeah, see, you got your first customer, Joey.
Well, send him the link.
Join?
What airline is it?
AllegiantVirtual.net.
Ooh, I can fly the Flight Factors A320 for you.
Okay, what do I have to do? You have to send me like...
It's off again! I swear I'm going to have an aneurysm by the end of this flight. Denver might as well have medical crews on standby.
Let me log out.
Liz is gonna get your thing running for through your phone.
I feel like I'm taking too long to get my S2. I've had my S1 since like March, and I'm just now getting my ground cert.
Joey, how good are you at coding?
Decent.
Can you install the join modules to the skin?
There's no join modules for... So, basically, the website that we're using as the base, basically... Oh, sorry, excuse me. We need to... And, unfortunately, the join module, like the whole join page, is not included on the main website.
I don't know backend, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can we create
John, what
one?
do
I've tried creating a website with a database, and I failed at it, so... I can do Discord bots, that's my best thing I can do.
All I know how to do is
I have the
write
best
HTML.
Discord bot.
Yeah. John, how do I give him the PHP VMS join thing?
When she does it, I'll have to... give me a minute.
Okay.
Let me log in, I'll do it.
Rip map.
God
This
damn
fucking
it.
LNAV is so gay.
Should have got the PMDG.
You know what? I'm about to find a
The
PMDG for
PMDG even
FS9.
compatible with FS2000, FS9.
Yes, there is. They got one for it.
Really? Really? Oh, my hub is JFK. Oh God.
I recently bought a keyboard, a 10 keyless keyboard, and it was kind of a mistake because the view controls for X-Plane are controlled by your numpad, so that just doesn't exist anymore.
Damn, what the hell? 600 foot per minute landing, John?
The computer was glitching on me. I was using X.
Oh, that makes sense. You can do softer. I went 3 times in a row, 80 feet, minus 80 feet per minute.
I've been controlling for 2.5 hours, and I've only had
You already gave
4 planes.
Mail doesn't exist.
Did you
This
go here?
website is so effed, but it works somehow.
Who made the
Alright,
website?
'cause I
I-
am.
I think Ben did. Didn't Ben do kind of the scripting?
Yeah,
John?
he installed the scripting for it.
Yeah.
So you just hired the assistant webmaster to make your website?
I gotta download the smart cars.
I don't know PHP at all, but I know a bit of backend with
Alright, send him the
JavaScript.
website. He can get in to join now. I just switched it to this crystal skin.
So send him the join thing.
Yeah, just send him to legionvirtual.net and he can join in. It's going to show up as PHP VMS.
That's a pretty nice domain.
Guys, we're going to have hiring days so that way when we get people in, let people know hiring days are going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Oh shit. Why is it up? Up. Oh, it's the old website. Okay.
Yeah, I had to
PHP
put it
VMS.
back.
What's
Wow.
this?
That's how hiring days are going to be had to be done then. Is I'm going to put it back to Crystal and then put it back to the new one.
What's PHP VMS?
It's the hosting server.
It hosts servers, basically.
It's like as soon as I click back over to Discord, frickin' FSX does not want to stay, or LNAV does not want to stay connected.
I have 0.949999999999 hours left until your promotion to captain.
Wait, what
See if it does it
airline
again.
should I do?
So
Which plane do you like flying?
All
I
the
like-
routes will still be available for you. So
MD-80 or 737?
73. I would only fly the A320 for the Allegiant, even though they don't fly it. I know they fly the A319.
God
no, they
damn.
have the A320. I flew one in real life.
Allegiant has the A320? I thought they only flew MD-80s.
No,
I
they
thought
don't
they
have
only
the
flew-
73s or the MD-80s anymore. They're A320, A319 now.
I've never
The
flown.
Allegiant A320.
Allegiant, so-
Oh god.
The most cost-efficient airline out there. I'm for real. It's only like $59 a flight.
I'm gonna do American because I love the American 7.6. It's kind of hot.
I don't have the routes in yet for American.
Roger, then
you
I'll
gotta get
join
some-
Southwest.
Yeah. When you can you get routes for Delta?
Yeah, I will.
'Cause, I mean, I can totally find the 717 for you. I already
Can
have
someone get our
crack.
live map working?
the... Let's see. Life map. It's... No, it... Let's see, are you flying on smart cars right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working. I see you, Jacksonville to Denver, cruising.
Does it show me on a map?
Yes, except you're parallel to your flight route.
Oh, because we're on the old site.
Yes.
On a new site, you can't see it.
Yes, because it's not added into the thing.
Okay, so do you think I should just let it stick to this for now?
Yeah, you
Until we
can't.
get a better updated?
I would recommend just using this website, this original website for now until you can get that other one working.
Doesn't Allegiant fly into Orlando Sanford?
I think so actually.
Yes, SFB.
Why
That's
isn't
hub.
that on here?
I saw a routing for Sanford.
It's not on the hubs. Or I thought that was one of their. Oh, it's not their hubs. I'm stupid.
It's just a
SFB is a hub.
they go to, boss.
Sorry, it's 1:50 a.m. My brain's kind of dead. I can't decide because there's nothing central
pack.
really.
Is there good sound packs for smart cars to change all the shitty audios?
Oh my god, I'm stupid. Orlando Sanford was on there. I was looking for 5 minutes.
It was on there. I knew it was on there. I could tell you how I knew it was on there.
Alright, connected
I'm the one that put it on there
thing.
myself. Hey, I'm gonna switch over to my phone so I can hear y'all better without having to switch over back and forth.
Okay. Flights. New. You don't have the
Rip on
7.
that.
Oh god damn it, I have to use the default plane set 737 for a while.
What the fuck was that? Oh.
San Diego to Oakland.
Alright, now that's better.
When I press when I try and log in after I press the register and it does nothing,
It's probably because one of us has to accept it. Yeah. Joey, try putting your app back in again. It's not showing. Try now. Having so many issues. That was just a block of music. If it's not over negative 800, then don't worry. If it's over negative 800, nice. Beyonce is watching. Hey, Doug, what's your swing clock to be? Robert Caroline. Hey, just I'm gonna fire one flight hour. I have right now. Yep, I have Allegiant, Southwest, and Allen. What kind of VA are you? What kind of? Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's in the progression phase. Yeah, it's in the progression Did he send it in? Did Joey get it through? Did we get Joey in this time? I don't see any.
leave it there?
Sure.
What's the let's see, what do the winds look like right now? Winds calm. So are we in west ops or
East ops.
east ops? I mean,
Atis Foxtrot.
okay. No one's popped up on the ground or anything. I don't see any inbounds.
No.
Yeah, I haven't had any traffic for around an hour.
Good.
No.
We're logging time. Yay.
FSA cars. Time to do another full installation of something that's gonna be annoying.
I know. There's just so many little details you got to remember, but once you get used to it, it's not that bad. There was something I was going to show you. What was it? Oh, yeah. Hang on. Let me find this Excel spreadsheet.
Wait, you're a C1 and you're controlling Jacksonville Tower.
Yeah, it's a long story.
Roger.
Basically, okay, so I was out in LA, and when I rejoined VATSIM after 15 years.
It did it again.
I'm sorry.
John is just going crazy.
Oh, I thought you meant I did it again when I'm telling my story.
Yeah, just ignore John. He's
so okay. That's fine. So I went out to LA, which was a big mistake. I never should have joined ZLA in the first place. When I joined Satco, which is the predecessor to VATSIM, in 1997, I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, and I should have joined Jacksonville. The only reason I didn't was because I had some flying experience out in Las Vegas, and so I wanted to do that since I was familiar with the Class Bravo out there. So I started on Las Vegas ground, and then tower, and then approach. Eventually I got center. And then I went away for 15 years, and when I came back, I went back to LA. Another big mistake. So I struggled. They sent me all the way back to square one.
Here now.
They said, even though the network says you're a C1, you've got to start all the way from scratch. So I took the tests, and I got my clearance delivery, and then I took ground, and I got San Diego ground, and then struggled to get LA ground, and then I was in the process of trying to get San Diego Tower when my friend Michael LaRoche, who is a mentor, C1, and soon-to-be instructor, I think, over in Houston. He's the events coordinator over there now, or
he's the assistant one.
Assistant events coordinator, and he, I met him because he was a visitor in LA. He was at that point assigned to New York, and he's from San Diego, so that's why. And anyways, he talked me into moving to Jacksonville. Tried to talk me to Houston, but he said, but I moved to Jacksonville, and then
still doing it.
You're not talking about me, right?
No, he's just really he's getting really fed up with this autopilot just being a piece of shit.
Oh, okay. And so the
I'm about to just bury the nose into the ground.
Done that. Not on purpose though. And then usually it's because I forget to put the flaps up and my speed gets higher and higher, and all of a sudden I realize my wings are gone and I'm heading straight down. So that I guess I could shut off that realism feature, but yeah, it's more fun this way. Keeps you on your toes. So when I moved to Jacksonville, all of a sudden I discovered they gave me all the way up to, I mean, you got to understand, I hadn't controlled above ground since, in 15, 16 years. And all of a sudden I can do approach. Really? So I started out at, in this area. I live in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which is near Eglin Air Force Base. So I did VPS approach at first because there's no SIDS, no stars. It was pretty simple, and I'm very familiar with the airspace here now because I fly with the Civil Air Patrol. I've been up in the air and listened to the controllers, and so I'm very familiar with what they do around here. So then I explored out a little bit, did Pensacola and Tallahassee, and then eventually I moved over to Daytona Beach and started working there for a while. When I felt more comfortable, I finally started at Jacksonville, and it was kind of one of those kind of self-paced things. Nobody told me what I could or couldn't do. I just had the smarts not to get in over my head. Well, one night it just picked up, and it just got so busy that I did get in over my head. And before I know it, there's a couple nasty gram write-ups on how overwhelmed I got and the fact that I got flustered and just quit. And would have been bad enough alone. They had a little talk with me about not, taking it easy until I'm more experienced and all of that. And then all of a sudden somebody discovered there was a YouTube video of the whole thing. and that was the end of that. It deserted me. It seems a little excessive.
It seems also just, you know, it just seems kind of like, you know.
I haven't talked to anybody recently that was there that night that remembers it. But
like, I think you honestly...
You weren't on tower when that happened.
Yeah, if I was on tower, except I logged off a lot earlier. I had to go
so
do
you weren't
something.
there when that happened, okay.
Yeah, you had to run tower. If I could have stayed on for you, I would have stayed on for you, but like...
That wouldn't have helped, though. It was getting people set up in their approaches and stuff that was my problem.
Yeah.
I got sidetracked by a couple,
This right here. The CWSR. What is that?
Your course is imbalanced.
Again.
341 and 3... Make sure it's 340 on both bars. Then turn on your LNAV.
Daniel, could you see the screen?
Oh, yeah, I could see your screen.
Okay, so I started out in Denver. This is all in the 738, okay? And I went Denver to Helena, Salt Lake City, Boise, Salem, Oregon, Olympia, Washington, and at that point I realized, oh my God, I tried to squeeze that little airplane, or that huge airplane, into Carson City, Nevada. Big mistake. I made it, and I got out of there, but first of all, there wasn't any gate ramp, you know, no ramps, it's just gates, you know, it's just space out front, and unless you've got a Zebo mod, there's no stairs or anything. But anyway, and then then the rest of these were all fine. San Francisco, Sacramento, Phoenix, Denver, Santa Fe, New Mexico, DFW, of course, is fine. Topeka, Kansas, that's a big problem. There are 2 airports right near Topeka. One of them happens to be KTOP, so that's the one they thought was the cool one to go to. That's just a little municipal airport. Just to the south, on the other side of town, is an actual regional airport, which would have been fine, has gates and the whole schmear. But no, here I am trying to squeeze the... so those are 2 places where I wished I had a smaller plane. Then I went to Minneapolis, then Lansing, Michigan, and then back to Chicago. And at that point, I decided I needed a smaller plane. So I went down to Atlanta and picked up an E-170, which I then flew back to Chicago and picked up there and flew these legs. Oops, flew all these legs in the E-170. So we're talking Frankfort, Kentucky, DC National, Providence, Rhode Island, Augusta, Maine, Montpelier, Vermont, back to LaGuardia, up to Concord, New Hampshire, over to Albany, and back down to National. And then I got back into the 738 and flew all of these legs. Bradley, Philadelphia, Logan, Richmond, Atlanta, Tallahassee, Charlotte. What's MDT? It's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Detroit, BWI, and back to Atlanta. So then I had flown the E-170 from DCA down to Atlanta, so that then I picked up these legs in that. And at that point, I realized going into little tiny Charleston, West Virginia was not going to be very easy, even in the 170. So I at some point when I was also in Atlanta, I got a B-190. That's the one that I flew down to Jacksonville and back one time. You guys took a couple times to actually complete the trip. Crashed a couple times, but once I got a handle on that airplane, it was good for the smaller fields. So I flew into Charleston, West Virginia in that plane. Oh, you know how they always record your landing speed as a negative number?
Yeah, your landing rate.
My landing rate was 23. Not minus something, it was 23 positive. Basically, the land, because the ground was rising faster than I was, I essentially leveled off and was in a very slight climb at 23 feet per minute, which is practically nothing. And as I touched down, the ground was rising faster than I was. So it was essentially a landing.
How does that happen?
I just explained it. The ground was rising very. It was, it's like
it's a hill.
It's a hill, so it's like a 5% grade. So as I'm coming in, I level off in a very, very slight little balloon, like I said, 23 feet per minute. As I touch down, the ground's probably coming up at 50 feet per minute or whatever, 100. And then
Oh, now I know what you're talking about.
so
It's
the
like
ground was rising. Yeah, so the ground was rising faster than the plane was.
it's like a little ground effect with
Yeah, except the ground wasn't level; it was rising. So as I leveled off, like you said, a ground effect, and then started a gentle climb, it matched the hill, except slightly less than that, and I just settled on. It was the smoothest landing I ever had ever. And it was a positive number, so it recorded on the Mountain Air website as a 0. It won't take a positive number, and then so it was for all intents and purposes a 0 in there. So,
my smoothest is probably, I think, -9.
yeah, my smoothest so far, and just remembering, is -34.
Yeah, I had one of those. I had
It is
like a
still doing it,
-26.
guys.
It's either -9 or -19. I'm not sure.
That's still butter, whatever.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
And average, I usually
under 50 is butter anyway.
average I get around like -100 to -300 foot per minute landing. So I'm just
I'm
like,
lucky not to have like 900 feet per minute. You know.
yeah.
Anything over that, and it's like you see the windshield goes. It's like, oh shit, I just broke something. The entire flight's invalid.
Yeah, I was doing a flight from Abu Dhabi and Dubai to LA, and because I was
like the long hauls, huh?
Yeah, long hauls are fun for me. I like just doing kind of cross continents fun. But when I was doing that,
have you ever talked to Gander or Gander Radio across the pond?
Oh, it's confusing. I'll be honest.
When I was first getting involved in VATS, well, like I said, it was Satco back then. When I was first getting involved in the air traffic control, I was deployed to Ramstein on a C5, what's it called? Stage, C5 stage. That's where planes land, and then I take a bunch of stuff from the crew, and they go into crew rest, and another crew comes and gets the stuff, and then they go south, and then another crew lands coming from the south, and then I take their stuff and put it in safe, and then give it to the next crew that's going back to the States, you know. And can't talk about what the stuff is, but suffice it to say, it's something I had to keep close, very, very close tabs on, at very good high security. And so that was my job, was to maintain that stuff the whole time, and do inventories and count pages and do all this kind of stuff. And there was a computer system that I got a hold of just before I left, and it was like, oh, this makes my life so much easier. Printed all the documentation I needed and everything. So anyways, I was doing that for 30 days, and when the whole thing was over, we found a set of headphones from a C-17, and that's right, it was a C-17 stage, not a C-5. And so it was stuff from Charleston that was coming and going all the time, and the commander there was the commander of the 14th Squadron in Charleston, and it was their squadron that owned that particular headset, Mark 14, the Air Squadron. And I asked him if I could hang on to it, so I signed a hand receipt, hung on to it, went on leave up to Cologne, Germany, to see my mother-in-law for about a week before I flew home. When I came back and went back into a duty status, the next C-17 heading back to Charleston, the aircraft commander was a friend of mine because I worked up at the wing at Current Ops. I wasn't in one of his flag squadrons. So Current Ops is the wing level scheduling. They schedule all the big missions and stuff, and then the squadrons fill them with air crew. And so this guy was an acquaintance of mine, and he let me sit up front with the crew, plugged into the only reason I could listen to anything is because I brought headsets, and so I plugged those in and listened to all their across the pond transmissions. 23 north, 15 west at 0623 Zulu, such and such next estimate, such and such a time, and this other point next after that. So
that's only position reports.
Right, and that's what you do in the oceanics. They don't have all that electronic digital the stuff the airlines have.
They have to manually get position reports.
Yep, they have to call them in, and they don't have radar for that coverage for that, so it's all just, like you said, just position reports.
But the one thing...
But it was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah.
The first time I got to hear it.
It's also a little bit confusing when you have to enter the tracks. Because, like, you have to figure out which one is current. Like, for sometimes my flights go through... Oh, sorry, excuse me. Non-current ones. So, ones that are outdated by the FAA standards. So, there's a NatTrack eastbound. Actually, my bad. NatTrack westbound. Named Barracks, and it was through starting at Shanwick, but the actual thing was, I looked at the FAA NatTrack messages, and that message, I guess there was nothing for Barracks, so I assumed it was outdated, and I was like, well, if it's it's flight sim, it's not going to be exactly realistic, and I'm not on VATSIM, but I was also kind of sad because I kind of wanted to go on this NatTrack, but
these are the NatTracks.
The current one, the Alpha and Zulu. Yeah, the current one should be GOMUP, which is NatTrack Alpha, I believe. I'm not sure. And Zulu should be something else.
1130 to 19 Zulu, 0100 to 8 Zulu. So, yeah, this is the one that's current now, heading over to Europe, and then the one coming back tomorrow morning is this one, or later today, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, that NatTrack Alpha is the NatTrack entries GOMUP. That's how you get into that. I've flown that track.
I'm making it work periodically, right?
Oh, actually, I'm wrong. Sunot. The Sunot track. Okay, they must have changed it. Yeah,
it changes every day with the weather.
Yeah, the weather changes. I forget that they do that. I'm an idiot.
Like the Zulu is probably trying to track right dead nuts into the jet stream, and the Alpha's trying to avoid it.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Should I try to cross the pond? I've never done it.
So, Joey, do you know what his cell cal code is?
I know that I know basics, so it's like, doesn't the controller like ping you with it to send a message?
Yeah, so basically when you request oceanic clearance, basically it'll say, like, hey, hello.
Oh, they actually use the cell cal for that?
Yeah, they will send you a message with the cell code that you have in vPilot. You won't. I don't think you receive it in your FMC, but I think you receive it in vPilot.
That's cool. Oh, like as a text message?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it won't be CPDLC, but it'll be with vPilot?
It'll be CPDLC. Yeah, it's not going to be CPDLC in the actual aircraft. It's going to be in vPilot.
Well, I'm actually an ex-pilot guy, but I know what you're talking about.
So it's. I mean, I think there's got to be some aircraft with a operable ACARS that connects to vPilot, but I know they will send you a message in vPilot or ping you in vPilot, and you'll say, yeah, cell received.
Well, it would be nice if it came out in your actual ACARS, wouldn't it?
It's very nice, honestly. And it's easier than reading back a full, like, oceanic clearance, because you have that clearance available in your ACARS, and even in vPilot.
I actually like, reading back the whole reading back the clearance is hard, but reading back the position reports is a piece of cake. I love doing those.
Yeah, it's not hard to do that.
Especially in the 738, the FMS lays it out for you so nicely under progress. It gives you the last waypoint, the next waypoint, and the one after that.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing this would probably be it would have stops, but I was thinking about crossing the pond by landing somewhere in Greenland, and then going to...
I was going to show you my route. Yeah, keep talking. I'm trying to find the file where I stuck my route.
So, thinking non-stop in the 717-200, crossing the pond by joining starting out somewhere in like the U.S., going to the top northeast point of Canada, going somewhere to Greenland, flying that place all the way to Reykjavik, and then Reykjavik.
You don't go to Reykjavik.
Where do you go?
You go to Keflavik.
Yeah, my bad. Keflavik. it's similar. Yep.
Is a big difference. Reykjavik's a small regional airport right near the capital, and Keflavik is the big international airport where all the planes land.
Oh, okay. So Keflavik, my bad. And then
And
Keflavik.
if you look at Keflavik, it's
Let me see if I got anything. Did you resend in the application, Joey, or?
Yeah, I did several times.
oh, that's what it was. Right.
Those are. I'm looking at what. Wow. I'm not
Another
getting
hour
anything.
Another hour and 10 minutes.
This is where I live, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, you live on the Panhandle.
Yes, near Eglin Air Force Base. Which is why what I'm saying is I should have joined Jacksonville in the very beginning. I lived in Charleston. That's within Jacksonville's airspace. I now live out here. That's within Jacksonville's airspace. I should have joined Jacksonville. I'm much happier here now than I ever was in LA. Yes.
You said you live in the Jacksonville airspace?
Yeah. I'm
Guess
in
what?
Eglin Air Force Base.
Oh, you're in Lakeland Air Force Base? I live
Eglin.
about... Oh, okay, Eglin. I live about 15, 20 minutes from Jackson International.
Okay, well, that's kind of at the other end.
Well, I live in Kansas City, Missouri. So
No, I'm saying we both live in Florida then. That's pretty cool. I actually live in Jackson.
Yeah, but it's like night and day. Just driving down I-10 from Jacksonville to Pensacola is like death 3 times over.
Oh, hell yes. I hate 10. Especially if you're right there by where Old Public School 4 is. And oh my God, I'm flying through lightning.
I have driven across I-10 in Texas, and I think the one in Florida is more boring. Holy cow!
Woo!
I drove from Kansas City to Houston.
John's a little scared right now. John sees lightning through the cockpit. Do y'all see this?
Lightning is harmless to planes.
Let's see.
Daniel,
what's up?
So right in the middle of the capital city of Reykjavik.
Did you
see
it?
There's a small little airport right here.
No.
That just serves flights to other places in Iceland.
Oh, okay. I'm
watch my cockpit carefully.
It's the Keflavik International Airport.
Oh.
Here, right here, is the civilian terminal.
Yeah,
and this is where the airport always used to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of this used to be Naval Air Station Keflavik.
Watch the cockpit.
Wow. The Air Force part was over here. The little fighters were in these little bunkers, and the tankers were over here, and the rescue squadron, and these were all. One of the interesting things about Keflavik, as opposed to other places, everyone was required to live on base. You could not live in the economy. There's a few exceptions. You had to file all kinds of paperwork. One of the members of your family had to be Icelandic, like if the guy's married an Icelandic woman or something, then they could live in town. But 99% of the people had to live on the base. So there was a lot of stairwells, what they call stairwell living, these little apartments on 3-story buildings. And then, see which angle's the best angle.
Oh yeah, Adis Hotel is current. Forgot to mention.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, firm, Adis Hotel current.
I forgot I'm still connected to stuff, so I got to keep an eye on things. Give me a heads up if you see anything, because I'm so busy with all this other crap.
Just keep watching, Liz.
Let's see. I used to live.
Watch here.
Wait, you lived in Keflavik?
2 years.
Wow.
So during a typical career in the Air Force, you have to do one remote. Most of the time, that means either Turkey or Korea. And I managed to go to Iceland to do my remote, which means I could go, instead of going for a year, I went for 2 years and took my family. So I had my family with me, and they loved it because we used to travel all over the country, and it was a blast. It was cold. It rarely got below, say, -1, -2 in the wintertime, but windy as hell. So it was just barely cold.
Yeah,
it was just barely cold. It was just barely cold enough to snow at -1, -2 Celsius, something like that. But in the summertime, we were lucky to see 15. That's about the high for the summer.
15 degrees.
Yeah, so barely, we're talking like low to mid 50s Fahrenheit. and breezy. I mean, it wasn't quite as windy as in the winter, but it was breezy. So we went up to Iceland on vacation.
I would have loved that.
10 years ago in 2010, we were going to Europe, and Ice Air had a deal where if you flew into Keflavik and changed planes there for Europe, but stayed in Iceland for a week, just 5 days minimum. If you stayed there for 5 days or longer, they would cut you such a deal on a 3-legged trip.
When he was in the military.
And usually if you have 3 stops, it's a lot more expensive, but they made it a lot cheaper. So they were trying. This is back when, in fact, if you remember the big Hekla, I can't even say it very well, but the big volcano that exploded that year in 2010. It like grounded a lot of flights back and forth from Europe. We were we were this close to not going on our trip, but stuff cleared up when we went down to see our friends in Vik.
Oh yeah, there was like
here. They had a foot and a half of ash in their yard. That they had. It's like we shovel snow in the winter. They shoveled ash. They were shoveling ash. It was just horrible, and they were a little dramatic foreshadowing. They're walking around in masks like we are now with COVID because you couldn't breathe that stuff. It was horrible. And so it was a pretty rough thing. And what really surprised my kids, we went to a place called Glacier Bay. You'll just have to take my word for it. See this little part right here?
Yeah.
It was that dense everywhere, and now it's almost completely gone. So I sent a picture of this to the family chat, and I said, for those of you that don't believe in global warming, ... And my son's like, oh God, here comes a dad joke. I'm like, no, this is not a joke. This is not funny. And I sent the picture. He's like, oh my God, is that Glacier Bay? I said, it was. Now it's just a bay.
That's crazy. It just melted.
And I feel sorry for this business because he has these little boat tours. I'm like, what's the point? Anybody can get into a little duck boat and go out into the water. The whole point was to see the glaciers or the little icebergs and stuff. But there's hardly any there. It's just the glaciers have receded so far that there's really nothing breaking off into the water anymore.
This makes me, knowing that you said...
I mean, it's still a big glacier, but...
Yeah. Knowing that you said a problem about global warming made me think about the video Bill Nye just saying the curse word video.
And he lit a globe on fire.
I'm not. Oh, that is funny. I am not much of a big, or at least I wasn't much of a believer in global warming, or at least I didn't think there was anything man was doing. I just thought it was a normal cyclical thing of nature. But now this is just so accelerated. In 10 years, well, let me put it this way: the 10 years between the time that we were there in 2000 and 2002 to 2002 and the time we went back in 2010, there wasn't any noticeable change. But in the last 10 years, between 2010 and now, holy cow, just looking at the pictures, I can just tell. It's just crazy.
So, I've heard that
So we had a nice vacation in Iceland 10 years ago. And when we went, we drove up onto what used to be the base. And they're using a lot of the old housing units and stuff for family housing for people staying or attending a certain college or something like that. But I don't think they would ever go for it. But at the time, Iceland was having these really big financial problems. You got to understand, there was only 15,000 people that lived in the entire country. And when 5,000 of those are the Americans that lived on this base, you realize the entire population of the country dropped by a third when we left. So that made it kind of hard economically. They didn't realize how much we were pumping into the economy. Even though we lived on base and couldn't go down and, didn't live in town, we still went down into town and shopped a lot. So, you can only go to Wendy's at the at the NEX so many times before you're so sick of it. You have to go eat other things. But except for the stinking rotten shark meat. Stay away from that. Ooh, that was nasty stuff.
Wait, it's 3:30 for you?
Is it really? No, 2:30. It's 2:30.
Oh, you're Central Time?
Yes, everything west of the Alabama, Georgia border extended southwards is Central Time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm East Coast, so.
So look at this. It's still daylight there in Iceland.
Damn, I don't even know how.
59 more minutes till I land. 59 more minutes. What?
So here's the Georgia Alabama border. Comes down this way, and that's just west of Tallahassee. It's down here someplace. There's a river. I think it's easier to see on a map. Well, anyway, if that's Panama City. It's east of there. Where is it?
Oh, fuck.
Here's Tallahassee, Georgia. Border's not very well defined on here. Ah, here it is. This little dotted line. So as this line extends south, that's the line between the central and eastern time zones.
Hold on. Yeah, David.
Okay.
So it's 2:30, and I work at 9:30, so I need to get to bed.
As I told you to tell him, I'm in a flight. I've been fighting with all.
Any other questions, Daniel?
No, not really.
Doug, where did you grow up? Good question. Thank you for asking.
This is Massachusetts.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Boston.
Boston? Yeah, Boston.
Boston.
I'm out in the suburbs. Town called Wayland, Mass.
Surprised you don't have a Boston accent.
I didn't grow up in the city, so pack the cow in the yad. You know, my mother was an English teacher. She made it really important. She said it was really important that we have a standard Midwestern accent, not a typical Boston accent. Most of the people that grew up near where I grew up do not have that inner city. You have to get inside 128 to get that accent.
Pack the cow.
Every time I think of Boston, I think of the Boston community for the Boston Red Sox, the fan base.
Oh yeah. Did you ever see that TV commercial for the new the Hyundai Sonata with the Smat Pack?
No.
It's hilarious. Smat Pack, and they got 3 real, authentic native Bostonians to film the commercial, and they even had what's his name from Blue Bloods, Donnie Wahlberg. He pulls up in a car and he said, "You'll never get that car in there." And he says, "Ah!" And he drives off. And then the next guy says, "Hey, Jimmy, how you doing?" "Hey, Donnie, what's up?" "What are you doing?" "I'm gonna pack." "You're not gonna pack there." "Oh yeah, I got Smart Pack." He gets out of his car and his car goes and just squeezes itself in, but he didn't have to open any doors or anything.
So it's Tesla Summon, but with a different car brand.
Does Tesla have self-parking too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
It can
yeah.
find you in a parking lot.
Well, this one won't find you in a parking lot. It'll just pull into a slot or back out of one. That's all. But it's Smart Pack, and it lets the car squeeze into some places you wouldn't want to squeeze into. Then you'd have to like open your doors. You know? So, anyways, in this way you can pull out and then get into the car. So, I can pack it. I can unpack it, and then David Ortiz leans out the window upstairs 3 doors down. He's like, "Hey, you can't park there." "It's okay. He's got Smart Pack."
Oh, now I remember what.
And the guy
Smart,
hits her. And the guy
Smart
hits,
Park.
Yeah, Smart Pack. And he says, "Hey, you can't say that's Big Pappy. I'm sorry, your bigness."
Don't y'all wish y'all had an awesome flight attendant on board like I do?
Honestly, now I remember. Yeah, this map. Oh,
My favorite awesome flight attendant.
So, anyways, yes, to answer your question, I grew up far enough away from Boston not to have that accent, unless I fake it, and it's not really all that authentic, frankly. But my brother-in-law had a really good. My grandmother had a Boston accent, which is why I'm surprised my mom didn't. Or, like I said, she went to a speech therapist after college before she got a teaching job in upstate New York, and she got rid of it. what I wanted to show you is these houses. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I was about to.
That's the house. That's the house I grew up in. And believe it or not, look how far apart all these houses are. Right. This is a house, a subdivision. Each house has an 1.5 acre lot.
I'm the opposite. The houses are like 10 feet apart.
Yeah, I know. I am too right now. But so that was the neighborhood I grew up in. I mean, we used to let our dog out, and he used to just run. And didn't really run around the neighborhood much. He went out into these, and there's just so much to explore.
So
It's right on the edge of a big town park. So
I live on a lake, so there's only like 2 stripes of houses. So I'm on the back half. So I have a huge backyard, but there's not enough room in.
Are you the one that said you were in Jacksonville?
No.
No, that's me.
Oh, well. Anyway,
I'm from Kansas City, the center of the U.S.
My neighborhood's pretty dense, as you can see.
Oh.
I live out.
It's a short walk down to the water, though.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, it would take me.
We don't get any water in Phoenix.
Same.
I can walk down here, and we can see over to Destin, and well, there's not going to be any fireworks today, but normally we would go down tonight and go watch the fireworks in Destin when they go off.
I know. It's sad how everything fires.
I think so. It's a tradition every year for people at my lake to go out on the boat near our dam, and they set off fireworks there. And there's usually somewhere around like 50 to 100 boats just all parked.
And shooting off their own fireworks?
No,
just
watching.
Yeah, they got our fireworks in Jacksonville broken down in like 5 different sections.
Dude, I have a feeling.
Are they going to do them?
Yeah, they're going to do them. Some are going to be off in Normandy. Some's going to be downtown. An area on the south side for the beaches area. They got it all scattered.
My favorite part of town.
Unfortunately, no longer there.
Alright, I gotta go to bed, you guys. It's
I mean, no longer there. You know, the landing's not there anymore?
The landing is ground zero.
Ground zero of what?
It's leveled. It's gone.
Why?
The city decided to tear it down.
So it's like this whole shopping center and stuff and the
Not
Hooters and all that is all gone?
All
Why? What's gone in its place or whatever?
They haven't decided yet.
Then why would they destroy something that's...
Don't
Why
ask
did that
me.
land belong to the city or something?
Mayor Curry has done lost his mind.
But I thought it was a commercial development. How could they just destroy it? Eminent domain, or did it actually
Because
belong
Shad
to the
Khan actually bought it.
Because I used to do this concert every year.
The new Jaguars owner bought it.
Oh, okay. Jacksonville Landing Park.
My fiance said condominiums are going up there.
Well, that makes sense then. Stupid. I love this place. There's a stage here. There's a Hooters right over here.
I know. I used to go there every Friday night.
I love how there's a Christmas tree. Oh, that was a bad thing.
It might have been done around Christmas time. That's why.
All right, I gotta go to bed.
It had to have been
guys.
done before that,
Same.
Douglas, because me and Liz moved back down to Jacksonville. What? November?
Good night, Joey. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, it's been years since I went to Jacksonville, though. So.
Good night, guys. See
The
ya.
first time we came
Good
down
night,
here,
guys.
we did everything.
Hyatt Regency was the place I
When
stayed
we came down
at.
to visit. It was November.
As I was driving towards
At the end of
Jacksonville, knowing that my daughter was going to go stay with a friend.
Yeah,
and
we
I had-
came down to
and I
visit
had
at
to
the
kill
end of
like a
November before we
week,
moved back, and the landing was
or
down.
3 days. Or no, I had to kill 3 or 4 days, and I got a nice room in this hotel here for a song. I think I paid less than $100 a night.
Yeah, the Omni over there off of Water Street.
No, the Hyatt Regency.
Oh, the Hyatt over off of Prudential.
Yeah, I stayed at the Hyatt Regency, and and I paid like $95 a night by using one of those last minute. They don't tell you where you're staying. They just say it's going to be 4 stars. It was fantastic. I've never. It would be like getting a surprise and having them tell you, "Oh, you could sit in first class." Oh.
Oh, I'm so ready to land this bird.
Until I found how much the cheaper places all offer free breakfast, but the expensive place doesn't. I thought that was crazy, but the breakfast was like $19.95.
Yeah, that's weird. Places that are cheaper will offer breakfast, but
yeah, but their breakfast is a little, here's some, some burnt toast and a little bit of, you can pour some batter into a waffle machine or something. But really, really good breakfast, that was the expensive one. But,
yeah, that makes sense.
Of course, my favorite breakfast or any kind of thing anywhere, that's Jacksonville.
Gas Monkey Garage, I'll say, was the best food I ever had.
Zoop. Beau Rivage has the best bake. It's right up there with Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, but I actually like it better.
Okay.
It's at the Beau Rivage, and if you ever do feel like torturing yourself and driving out I-10 for a while, go to the end of the world and then keep going.
I used to do expediting with my dad, so I've been here and there.
So yeah, the Beau Rivage is a cool place to go. I used
out
to have
there
one of
in Louisiana.
No, it's in Mississippi. Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay.
Biloxi,
yeah.
That's a really great picture. Look at that 3-dimensional. Holy crap, it's really good.
Yeah, it is.
And the Imperial Palace is that one.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, in 2005, or prior to 2005, they had a rule that casinos couldn't be on land. So they were on all these little things moored just a little bit offshore. And Katrina slapped them up one side and down the other and taught them what a horrible idea that was.
Before we got here.
So they changed the law and they allowed for the casinos to be on land, and that's how the.
Hey, Douglas, Liz just looked it up. The official last day of the landing was, what was it, July what? The July 5th of 2019.
So it's been gone for a year. Wow.
Yep.
That's sad because I really liked the landing.
I know.
In fact, the last time I was there, actually, my son and his band we all piled into a couple cars in a van, and we drove over to Jacksonville for the live music festival they have there every year. No, not live music, original music. It was an original music. So local art bands from all over Florida and different places, all over the Southeast would come to Jacksonville for like 15 or 20 different venues, and they would have a chance to perform their original songs.
Oh yeah, they used to do it one weekend a month.
Oh, I don't know about that. This is a once a year thing. They may have a concert on the stage at the landing one weekend a month, but I'm talking about in 20 different venues all over town, and in a 3-day music festival that was just.
Isn't that Welcome to Rockville or no?
No, that's not what it was called.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it has a different name. I'd remember it if I heard it, but that wasn't it. And it was.
I'd have to remember it. I know what it's called. I just can't think of it by heart right now.
It's probably not still going on, I imagine, because I was getting emails about it every year for a while, and then they tapered off.
Well, yeah, right now it wouldn't be going on anyways. That's probably why I haven't got a notification.
I mean, I haven't heard from them. I mean, I haven't heard from them in 4 or 5 years.
Oh wow. I know they do something like that every year in Springfield.
But it was just a place to showcase, and we ended up in this little tiny bar, and it was a very, very bad time slot. It was in the middle of the afternoon, and it was like 6 or 7 people in there. It was awful. It's like, oh, how are we supposed to get famous now? And And I invested so much money in that band, I was hoping they would just take off and do very well, but it just never quite made it. And kind of like that one song where the guy's like, bought my very first 6-string in a secondhand store. You remember that? Do you know that song? I can't remember.
Yeah, just bear with me. As you see, I'm having LNAV issue again.
Anyways, and then it's like Joey quit, Jimmy got married, blah 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 blah. All the different things. Everybody went off. Never thought we'd be that good, that kind of thing. And then now he's in his own band. I can't remember who it was, but anyways, that's kind of what happened. All the band members just kind of went on their own way, and my son David's really the only one that's still a musician. Oh, that's not true. Donnie moved down to Orlando, and he's in another band that's actually touring now.
You believe it or not, you know where the Van Zant house is in Jacksonville?
No.
I live 3 blocks away from it.
Guide me in. Where is it?
Just look up Leonard Skinner house.
How do you spell it?
Oh, shoot. Liz would have to look it up. Liz would have to look it up and text it to you. Did it pull up?
Van Zandt's house?
Yep. I literally live over off of Orton Street on there.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Hillcrest, that neighborhood?
Yeah, I live over off of Orton on there.
The Lakeshore Boulevard, Woodcrest, Poppy. Where's Horton? Is it parallel a couple blocks over? Or is it parallel a couple blocks north or south?
Just stand by. I'm having AP issues.
Again. Not a bad neighborhood. It's pretty decent. I've never heard of that one. Is that uncontrolled? Is that why we don't really deal with it?
Yeah, it's uncontrolled.
Hurlong Recreational Airport. What's the ICAO for that?
It's a GA field.
There's Navy Jacks. I know where that is. There's Jackson. There's International. Where's exact? I've never really looked at this in terms of an actual map with places. I'm just used to seeing. So that other one's not even on this map, is it?
No, it's on there.
It's not one of these runway. That's Craig. This must be Navy Jacks down here. So is it this little strip here?
It should be. Hold on. I'm having an issue where... Okay, now let's see something. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, now my push to talk is stuck. Okay, now can you hear me?
Well, that must have been right about when it quit. Because you said, now my push to talk, and then silence.
Yeah, it's for some reason when I'm in flight sim, my PTT is not gonna work.
Oh, that's true too. You always have to. I get the same thing all the time. You always have to click out to something else to make it work.
Yeah, it's weird.
Nah, not that weird. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not that uncommon.
I never have that issue. Like, I literally will never have that issue. I'm trying to keep the LNAV alive so I can make this approach sustainable. I've still got 45 minutes in flight. Possibly. If I don't sit up and watch air disasters on YouTube.
I guess when the new flight sim comes out, it's going to be more like this.
Yeah, because it's going to use GPS.
No, it's going to use the satellite imagery.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Well, I still call it GPS.
GPS is the satellites that give you where you're located. It's not really GPS, but I think I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, because when you're on your GPS, you can set it to satellite mode.
Okay, I got you. See what you're saying. But anyways,
So
yeah,
that's why I still call it GPS.
It's Google Maps is what it's using.
Right. In turn,
Satellite.
GPS. She uses Apple Maps and Waze and TomTom now that I got her a TomTom subscription for her phone.
You can put TomTom on your phone?
Do you have an iPhone?
No.
Do you have an Android?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, my point is I had a TomTom years and years ago, back when they were a thing, in separate units.
Yeah, TomTom, they have an app for your phone now.
So why bother? Google Maps, Google's directions are just fine.
Because it's a lot more interactive and a lot more up to date in real time.
Oh, including traffic and all that?
Yep.
Because
and accidents.
Because like Google has millions and millions of unwitting sensors out and about on all the highways in the world, Anybody driving anywhere with an Android phone is a sensor for Google Maps. Whether they realize it or not, it's transmitting their location and how fast and their speed and stuff. Not a lot of personal data.
The government's stalking me.
Well, it's not that. It's all the data is collected in the aggregate. It's nothing personal. They're not tracking you personally. Although, actually, if you go into your phone and look at your history, you can actually see all the places you've been in the route you took. But I don't think that particular private information is transmitted to anybody. It's just stored in your phone. But as far as taking traffic information in the aggregate, I was in Jacksonville one time, coming up this road here, or I can't remember which highway it was. But I was trying to get back to. I was going to go back to Fort Walton, so I just wanted to go up and get on I-10 and go out that way. And it said, no, take a right at this exit. I'm like, why? I'm like, okay, fine, Google, you know what you're talking about. So I got off the highway, and then as I looked up and off to my left, the traffic had started to back up. It was a Sunday, and there was a Jaguars game going on, and that was back when they actually had fans. And sorry. And then they I have a feeling that what's going to end up happening is they're going to, instead of moving and completely abandoning Jacksonville, they're probably going to split some of their season, and some of the games will be played in London, and more than just now, but I'm saying they'll become the London/Jacksonville Jaguars, and except when they're over there, they'll be called the Jaguars. And that was a joke. And all the playoff games, all the preseason and the training camp, all that kind of stuff, their basic headquarters will be out of Jacksonville. I'm sure they'll keep ties to the city. That would be the smart thing. But then the better part of the franchise would be over there. And then the smart thing to do would be they'd go over to London, play like 5, 6, maybe even all 8, well, maybe 6 games over there, 2 games in Jacksonville, and all the road games in the States. But they'd play those 6 games over there in a row so that they weren't going back and forth to the United States every time. They'd just go over there for 6 weeks and they'd be done with it. And then the rest of the season would be other pairs of teams over there doing their little exhibition-y stuff. But the Jaguar home games would be in London, except for a couple in a couple in Jacksonville, and if they make the playoffs, all their playoff games would be there rather than in England. Because you're not gonna make somebody go all the way over to England for a playoff game. That puts them at a very distinct disadvantage, and they're trying to get into the Super Bowl. So that's just not fair. So. Oh, by the way, I thought the Patriots were going to be all washed up and done for this year, and now we got Cam Newton.
Oh, don't tell me you're a Patriots fan.
Like I told you, I grew up in Boston.
Oh, Lord.
It's not like I'm some bandwagon guy that like Brady or something. And just I've met a few of those. I'm like, ugh. They're just doing it because the team was good for a while. It's like nobody was a big fan when they sucked, and I was. All through I'm old enough to remember the late 60s, early 70s, and right up through the time I graduated from high school in 1980. They were just awful. My first duty assignment was at Nellis.
Lock her ass up on that porch. She's outside.
Right here. And so when they finally made so in 1985, they were actually a wild card team. They beat the Jets in the first round. They went down to Los Angeles to play the then LA Raiders. And a friend of mine and I decided to go to that game. We drove down.
Sorry, I'm listening. I'm just still having APC issues.
We drove down to LA. Where's the Coliseum? LA Coliseum.
And I just don't want to have to fly this thing in manually, but it looks like I'm going to probably have to for the next 200-something miles.
So there's the LA Coliseum. Oh, wow, it's already torn up.
Yep. LA Coliseum.
That doesn't make any sense because this is an old satellite picture. Unless they were getting ready for something. Is that for like a dirt bike thing or who knows?
It may be like Monster Jam or something.
Anyway, so the LA Coliseum, I was like right across the street at some seedy little motel with like low hourly rates and mirrors on the ceilings. One of those places. It was kind of really seedy. Probably along here someplace.
Then put her in her cage.
And I went it's probably where this is all torn down now. And I walked across the street to the box office the day of a playoff game and got seats on the 50-yard line.
Oh, damn.
On the day of a playoff game. Now, granted, I was like up there against a chain link fence. Doesn't even look like a chain link fence now. Unless it was on this side. Oh, that really looks all torn up, doesn't it? God, they've really destroyed this thing. Well, anyway, maybe that's what it is. They're getting rid of it because they got that new place coming.
Yeah, Allegiant Stadium.
So I stayed, I believe it was on this side, on the west side of the field. Oops.
Yeah, you talking about Allegiant Stadium?
The new one they're just building?
In Vegas?
No.
Oh, is that Candlestick?
I'm talking about the Raiders.
That's the 49ers, right?
This is the LA Coliseum in Los Angeles.
Okay.
But I'm saying the Rams don't play there anymore. They're moving to that new one in Inglewood.
Yeah.
But anyways, on the day of a game against the Raiders, I sat on the 50-yard line, but way up with my back against the fence.
Didn't they just build that stadium too?
The Coliseum's been around since the 1920s.
They were just playing there temporarily?
Yeah. When they moved from when they moved from St. Louis back to Los Angeles, they went to the Coliseum instead of going back out to Anaheim, which is where they came from. And then now this is the Bank of California Stadium. I wonder who plays there. Oh, that's the soccer field. I wonder, is that where the Chargers were playing?
It's also the baseball field too.
Was it right next door to the Coliseum? That's wild. Okay, I did not know that.
Aren't they the Dodgers or something?
No, that's not a baseball field. That's a soccer field.
I thought they also shared it as baseball too.
No, not that one. There is the Dodgers play over here.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that's not the Dodger Stadium. That's just a little baseball field. All right, that's a low field. That's not a very big field. Not
the
sure
Dodgers play in that one stadium, I think.
Nope, not there. Nope. It's a big one. I'm just not sure where it is.
Okay, I'm intercepting the not the localizer, but the information now.
So I drove down and I saw playoff game. Now the next week, they played in Miami, so of course I watched it on TV. And they beat the Dolphins in the Orange Bowl for the first time in franchise history. And 2 weeks later, we went to New Orleans.
Oh wow!
Where we got beaten 46-10 by the Bears. If you know your football history, the 1985 Chicago Bears had one of the best defenses in history.
Oh yes, they did.
And we went up against that juggernaut that year. But that was one of those things where we were just so happy to be at the Super Bowl that was sufficient. You know, the team had been so terrible for so long, just making it to a Super Bowl was amazing. And then 11 years later, we did the same thing. The game was back in New Orleans. We went back to the Super Bowl, and I didn't go to that game, but it was against Aaron Rodgers. No, not Aaron Rodgers. It was we played Aaron Rodgers later, but no, it was Brett Favre.
Yeah, I was about to say Brett Favre.
It was Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers, and we lost to them. So we lost Super Bowls in 1985, 1996, and 2007.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking it was supposed to be like an 11-year cycle, and it wasn't. It was a little bit off because the year we lost to Philadelphia wasn't quite 11 years later. It was 10 years later, but from a previous loss. But I think they were the stars are just realigning or something. I don't know. It has something to do with the sunspot cycle because that's every 11 years too. So
yeah, I think it's.
So, anyways, I'm really excited.
My LNAV, my autopilot, it wants to work in certain
areas. Where are you landing? Where are you flying into?
Denver.
Denver, like Denver International.
Yes, sir.
Well, I can't go there.
Kilo Delta Echo November.
We can't go there. Not unless you go there and get your major cert, but
I'm Southwest.
Huh?
I'm flying.
I'm not talking about flying. Denver's actually the hub of my virtual airline I fly with. I'm saying as controllers in Jacksonville, we can't we have an exchange agreement with Denver, but it's for minors only. So I could control at Colorado Springs Airport, but I couldn't
that makes sense.
Or up at not Telluride. What's that one? Aspen. But
so I can control at Richmond.
Where's that?
We have a controller agreement with DC, don't we?
Nope, not DC. Nope.
Washington.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we have an LOA with ZDC.
You sure? I'm pretty sure we don't.
I seen it in LOAs.
Okay, well, if that's true, then I'm wrong. So I don't know.
Look, you can look it up on there. If so, I can control Richmond then. Beautiful downtown Jacksonville. It's a lot different without the landing there.
Atlanta, Denver, Houston, Indy, Memphis, Pacific Control, and Seattle. Those are the places we can go.
Okay. I thought I seen something about DC in there.
Nah. Maybe before, but there was a few that just expired. Like we used to have one with Cleveland. That's gone now.
Why?
There may have been one with Washington Center. I don't know, but
I didn't say I wanted her gone. Get out of my face. Get away from me if you're gonna talk like that. Get away from me. Just go to bed.
This is just an interfacility coordination LOA.
Okay.
That might have been what you're thinking of. There's an LOA
Yeah.
between Washington and Jacksonville, but it's about routings, altitudes, handoffs, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
It's not the mutual visitation LOA.
Okay.
There's mutual visiting agreements with Atlanta, Denver, Houston, Indy, Memphis, Pacific Control, and Seattle. And all of those, except for Houston, are minors only. You'd have to get checked out on the GRP check for working their majors. And then
I said she can get locked back up at
the
night.
exception is Houston. The agreement that we have with Houston is complete,
Nowhere did it
complete transparent exchange,
get rid of her.
which means whatever you're certified to here, you can do there. You get your F11, you can go work I-90.
Yeah.
So I lost my minor approaches. That means I couldn't work Austin anymore
Oh wow.
because it's instantly
That's
tied
right.
to
I think
what.
you were telling me about you lost your rating on something before.
Yeah, I lost my minor approach rating.
Yeah.
That's how this whole conversation started. We were explaining how that happened. I was saying. And meanwhile, we still have no traffic. Nothing has popped up.
Me out.
So I've done. Oh, and now it's after 3. Good God, I got to go to bed.
I know that. I'm gonna
Is
be.
Joey still here?
Negative. Not that I know of.
Oh, he left without telling me. He's supposed to do a handoff.
I think he said goodnight to everybody.
Well, he should have said he was leaving and that I had it. But okay, whatever. Nobody's on the ground. Nobody's on the ground. Nobody's up above me, and I'm leaving.
All right. You have a good night. I'm laying over once I get to Denver. You have a good night, Douglas.
Where are you staying?
I don't know yet. Wherever Southwest puts me.
All right.
Wait. I'm the owner of Allegiant Virtual.
Oh, it's Allegiant Virtual?
AllegiantVirtual.net is mine, yeah. But I have.
Oh, but you're flying. But you're flying
different-
more. You're flying more than just Allegiant routes.
Yeah.
Because Allegiant is kind of weird. On Tuesday they go here, and on Wednesday they go there, and on Friday.
I'm branching out having different airlines under one umbrella.
They used to have a nonstop from VPS to Las Vegas. I'm like, oh damn, and it was like $25 each way. I'm like, holy crap.
Well, see, the way
I missed my chance. They don't do it anymore, and I missed my chance. I was so looking forward to it because I thought I could go out and catch a Raiders game whenever they played a team I really wanted to see.
Yeah. See, the way I do mine is I have different airlines, but they have their own identity, but they're under my website.
That's not the same thing. You need to just fly Allegiant routes with Allegiant, you know.
Oh yeah, people can choose to fly just Allegiant, but like when you go into smart cars, you have the option to fly any of them as a coach.
Is my screen still streaming?
It says live, but I don't see it. Oh, I see your desktop. That's it.
Yeah, well, I was going to show you this airplane. This is the 738 that I fly, and on my world tour, that's Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa.
Is that the PMDG or the ifly?
No, it's the X-plane default.
Oh, really?
I'm boring. Yeah, I know.
Do they have the FMCs and all that in them?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they did.
Yeah, the default 738 is not a bad airplane. In fact, I got a really cool Boeing 738 story. I was in Washington State, up in Portland. I'm sorry, Oregon. I was in Portland, Oregon, visiting my son in December, and I had this really weird 3-legged trip that I had to take from PDX to ORD, from ORD to CLT, and from CLT down to VPS. And it's a good thing I got the circuitous route instead of going through DFW, which is the way it normally goes, because there was a huge storm system moving from Texas towards Louisiana and stuff. So I flew around it, and we never had any problems whatsoever. But anyways, on that first leg, I'm walking down the jet ramp, and I asked the guy that was moving the bags down to the hold, You know, the ones that couldn't fit overhead, and they had to check them. So I asked the luggage guy, "What type of airplane is this?" He said, "A Boeing 738." I'm like, or 737-800, and I'm like, "Oh, is it now? Okay." So I go on board. I asked if I could stick my head in the cockpit. She says, "No problem." I go up there. Captain's not there. Co-pilot, first officer, sitting in his seat in the right, and asked me if I want to sit in the left seat. I wish I had, but I didn't. I just crouched down, kind of in between them, and then the captain sticks his head in the thing. He was about to come back and sit down. I told him a little bit about my sim experience. He said, "Oh, so how'd you like to start the APU?" So I reach up and start flicking switches. I'm like trying to flick him. He's like, "No, you got to pull out and then push down." I'm like, "Oh, we don't do that in the sim. We just click on it." And so then I reach up to do this other thing. He said, "No, we have to wait 2 minutes for that, you know, to turn on the APU bleed." And then he said, "Turn on the packs." And I go, click, click. And he said, "Now the seatbelt sign." So I reached up, turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. And I just did all this stuff until finally, and I was about to hit the blue light came on. I was about to drop it onto the bus. He says, "No, stop." Okay, yeah, you could drop that onto the bus. So click, click, and then after I dropped the APU on the bus, I was about to turn off the ground power. And he said, "Hold on, hang on. The guys on the ground need to disconnect and shut down all the breakers and stuff first, or you'll give them a heck of a shock." Oh, okay. So they had to wait until they talked to the guys on the ground, and then they disconnect the ground power. I'm like, okay, leave that there for now. And so I went back to my seat, and I'm sitting there and acting like, you know, here I am, a 58-year-old acting like a 12-year-old, you know,
Right.
all excited. And it's like, "Do you remember when the seatbelt sign came on?" And she's like, "Yeah, what about it?" "That was me. I did that."
Hey, let me do my calls to the cabin right quick, okay?
I'll talk to you later.
All right. You have a good night. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and or excuse me, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We want to thank you for choosing Southwest Airlines. At this time, we're about 23 minutes to the Denver International Airport. We should be arriving here approximately around 4:30 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, are going to come through and do their final checks about the cabin as in preparation for a landing. We ask that your tray tables and your seat backs are in a fully upright and locked position. Denver reporting okay weather coming in, so we should have a little bit of a safe and smooth approach into Denver. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for choosing Southwest. We'll contact you on the ground. Local time here in Denver is 2:17 a.m. Local time here in Denver is 2:17 a.m. All right. All right. Now that that's done, we are now descending for Denver. notice out already on the website. Liz, I put a notice out already on the website that we're switching back to this skin temporarily while we fix the issues inside of the other one. ladies and Mr. Captain. Just a little bit of update. Looks like we're gonna be we should be arriving in 5 minutes. So give them about a 15. Once again, thanks for choosing Southwest. It's always my pleasure. The hell? I closed Swift out and Swift closed flight sim out. Wow. Wow.